The Alabama Farmers Federation and the Alabama Farmers Cooperative proudly present Simply Southern with your hosts Jim Allen and Mary Johnson.
Good morning and welcome to Simply Southern. I'm Jim Allen.
And I'm Mary Johnson. Coming up on today's show, wet weather. How excessive rainfall this spring almost spelled disaster for farmers all across Alabama.
We're about 4.5 weeks behind planning where we would normally be this time of year.
We'll also see how technical training in high school could be producing a whole new generation of farmers.
The field of agriculture is great to get into. We truly have more jobs than we have students. We really do.
And Sidney Phelps with Bonnie Plants is making a house call this morning to talk about some things for you to consider for your backyard garden.
But to get us started, the story of a woman whose hobby helped her recover from a severe disability and gave her a new purpose in life. Stay tuned for the story of a real miracle next on Simply Southern.
What one thing can you say about your local quality co-op store? You can trust us. You get what you need for your farm, for your lawn and garden, and the safest products for your pets. We're locally owned and operated, and you can trust that we care about our community and the people in it. So if you're a raised bed gardener, a rose gardener, or if you farm hundreds of acres, the Quality Co-op Store has exactly what you need to get the job done. All this plus friendly, knowledgeable advice. Your Quality Co-op Store. There's one near you.
Look, don't get me wrong, I love to rock my 4-inch heels, but do you know what I really love? Beef. When I watch a Western, I'm not watching the cowboys, I'm watching the cows. T-bone, filet, New York strip, and it's gotta be choice Angus beef. And there's nobody that does beef better than the beef people at Winn-Dixie, the original beef people. Hey, I'm beef people. Are you?
Winn-Dixie, home of the beef people.
The blessing of Alabama agriculture is more than 3 meals a day. It means independence from foreign nations, freedom to pursue other jobs and activities, conservation of natural resources, and preservation of family values. For 93 years, the Alabama Farmers Federation has brought together the men and women whose work fills our plates and fuels the American dream. Brought to you by the Alabama Beef Checkoff Program. Fire up the grills. Beef, it's what's for dinner.
I'm gonna need an electrician.
Rita and Mike were replacing a built-in microwave.
Don't scratch the stove.
Okay.
All right, let's go get something to eat.
Smart and beautiful.
When Rita called, she said, "You're not gonna believe what happened." I said, "Rita, because we had your regular Alpha policy review, your damage is covered."
Glad we left the insurance to a pro.
Good call.
For service and savings, call Alpha.
Well, we didn't scratch the stove.
Artistic expression echoes throughout recorded history. Many have found fulfilling hobbies in the arts. Some have made them a career. This week we'll visit a former real estate agent in North Alabama for whom both are true, and they may have even saved her life. In the Appalachian foothills in Valley Head, Alabama, sits a quaint little store that took a miracle to start. Belinda Miracle is the owner of Miracle Pottery, offering a wide range of colorful handmade items designed and created in-house.
Every single piece is signed with a cross, and then I simply sign it Miracle. It's a miracle, you see, that I can make pottery, but it happens to be my last name.
Belinda sustained a head injury in a car accident that impaired her short-term memory, forcing her to abandon a career in corporate real estate. Routine tasks that were once simple seemed beyond her reach.
I had gotten to the point I couldn't drive, I couldn't read, I couldn't scramble myself an egg. My life was pretty much over.
At the suggestion of a concerned friend, Belinda looked for help in a seemingly unlikely place.
She said, you know, sometimes you can use the artistic side of your brain and it'll trigger your memory. And I said, that's a lovely thought, Linda. but I don't have any artistic ability. She said, I'm going to go take a pottery class. Why don't you come go with me?
Valinda began taking classes on an old kick wheel machine, a daunting task with her condition. Despite the difficulties, she grew encouraged by her accomplishments.
I was forming little bitty pots, and I thought, well, you know, these hands formed this little bitty piece of clay. It took me a while, but surely I can make another.
Hiring someone to build her a kick wheel machine of her own, Valinda continued to make pots, reusing what she had made when her finances prevented buying new clay.
I had to have a keeper 24/7 to keep me out of trouble. And when I was working on those little pots, I was out of trouble. So I just stayed at that wheel. And God in His sovereignty, as I was making those little pots, He reformed and reshaped me. Not only did He give me the beautiful talent to make all these beautiful pots, but He gave me back my memory.
Valinda used her newfound passion to convert a 4-car garage into a growing enterprise, with her son now operating a location in Georgia. With several summer camps in the nearby area, Miracle Pottery has become an increasingly popular landmark.
All those little kids comes in and buys mugs. And as they're at the camp, they have to drink their coffee out of the mugs to get them up in the mornings. Then when they come back through, then Mommy and Daddy, they talk about the mugs so much, then Mommies and Daddies has to come back and have mugs. So it's a tradition.
Valinda and her staff create pottery for a multitude of needs, from utility to artistic and eclectic. The miracle she most hopes to share, however, isn't the kind displayed on the shelves.
I've done some classes with autistic children and just children in general and adults. And they say, oh, I don't have any talent. I have no talent. I said, you're just the person that I've been looking for. When I see the lights come on in that individual and I see the lights come on in them, that's what I live for.
In addition to pottery classes, Valinda plans to offer oil painting as well as similar classes currently available at her partner location in Cumming, Georgia.
You know, Jim, that really is a miraculous story to go through what she went through. Now she's able to even teach others about the talent she's developed.
She's amazing. She really is. Coming up next, reading, writing, and arithmetic give way to wrenches, wiring, and welding at a school where curriculum is not so much college prep as it is career prep.
And later, see how too much rain endangered this year's crops before they were even planted.
Alabama soybean farmers help fuel the state's economy. Soybeans are used to make clean, renewable biodiesel and are a key ingredient in feed for poultry, catfish, and livestock. Soybeans are used in dozens of products we use every day. But best of all, soybean farmers generate $258 million and more than 4,000 jobs for Alabama's economy, all while helping conserve our natural resources. Explore the power of soy. Brought to you by the Alabama Beef Checkoff Program. Fire up the grills. Beef, it's what's for dinner.
Support healthy food from local farmers by purchasing a Farming Feeds Alabama license plate. The tag funds education and promotion efforts, including Ag in the Classroom, agricultural scholarships, and youth programs. Get your Ag tag today.
Alabama wheat and feed grain farmers grow food, fuel, and freedom. Their harvest helps feed Alabama's multi-million-dollar livestock, catfish, and poultry industries while reducing America's dependence on foreign countries for energy and food. By combining their strength with farmers of other commodities, feed grain growers are fueling the economic growth of Alabama communities.
Today's farming operation is more complex than ever before, with precision agriculture becoming an integral piece to farm management. AccuField provides precision agriculture technologies and site-specific management capabilities in a simplified and interactive format, helping you put all the pieces of the farming puzzle together. For more information, visit us at www.accufield.com.
Rows of crops, dusty tractors, and cattle grazing are common images associated with agriculture. Advances in technology, however, have had a significant impact in this increasingly technical industry. This week, Samantha Carpenter explores how a Mobile County Technical School is preparing a new generation to meet farming's future challenges.
The need for mechanics is growing, and the agriculture field is no exception. Here at the Bryant Tech Center, they give students an opportunity to excel at a young age.
Founded in 1975, the Bryant Career Technical Center has offered career training and instruction for high school students in the Mobile area. Among the programs offered at the center, agriculture mechanics is a particular field of importance to farming in Alabama.
Diesel mechanics has a big role in the field of agriculture. We play a big role in transportation of corn, wheat, and actually equipment that's used in the field on a daily basis.
As the economy and technology have changed, the need for skilled mechanics has increased. This has created new opportunities in agriculture as farmers try to keep pace with advances in tools and machinery.
Agriculture has become so much more technical than it has in the past. Ag is no more just a lot of hand labor, it's a lot of machinery work. These machines have to be worked on. It's high-tech. A lot of guidance systems are being placed now. It takes a special person to run that type of equipment.
Mobile and the surrounding area have seen a significant amount of industrial growth in recent years, which has led to relationships between the school and many employers. Students are exposed directly to industry needs, an advantage as jobs grow more specialized.
The certifications that we have our students earn are what the industry partners tell us that make them more employable than the next person that comes in to apply.
Just this week, Wilson Distribute's come out with a new Kohler fuel-injected engine, and they were allowed to bring a technician down here and introduce my students to the latest and greatest technology that's being used in agriculture.
With the increase in age of the average American farmer, the technological evolution in agriculture may also afford these students a path into the world of farming that expenses in land and equipment often prevent.
To actually just become a farmer, you just about have to have a good bit of property and a big investment in machinery and property, and you just about have to inherit the land part of it to start into production farming. A lot of farms have managers, mechanics on their own place instead of just taking equipment off. They need it right there at their own place. This gives kids a chance to get into farming by working with a farmer that's here today.
Programs like agricultural mechanics are increasingly attracting students preparing to enter the job market as the assurances of traditional university degrees fade. With the diversity of industry in the area, the Bryant Center has enjoyed a high level of placement.
Mr. Tillman gets calls just about every day while we're in class from somebody asking for a student graduating. And we don't have the people to send them graduating yet.
The field of agriculture is great to get into. We truly have more jobs than we have students, we really do. And these students are getting great jobs. They're able to get health insurance, provide for their family, all at the ages of 18, 19 years old.
With involvement in organizations like FFA, farming has had an impact on many of these students. Through the programs available at the Bryant Career Technical Center, the future of agriculture is looking a little brighter in the Mobile area.
It's been a real good deal for the ag community too, because we can get kids coming out of here can go just about into any part of agriculture that we have in the county. We're looking forward to working with them more in the ag field.
For Simply Southern, I'm Samantha Carpenter.
In addition to diesel mechanics, Bryant Technical Center offers a number of other programs, including horticulture and turf management. So that's even good news for South Alabama golfers.
And these students really have a future in agriculture in Alabama or in other industries.
There's a big demand for that kind of career. When we return, unpredictable weather is always a challenge for farmers. Usually it's a shortage of rain in the summer, but this year it was a surplus of rain in the spring.
Alabama wheat and feed grain farmers grow food, fuel, and freedom. Their harvest helps feed Alabama's multi-million-dollar livestock, catfish, and poultry industries, while reducing America's dependence on foreign countries for energy and food. By combining their strength with farmers of other commodities, feed grain growers are fueling the economic growth of Alabama communities.
Today's farming operation is more complex than ever before, with precision agriculture becoming an integral piece to farm management. AccuField provides precision agriculture technologies and site-specific management capabilities in a simplified and interactive format, helping you put all the pieces of the farming puzzle together. For more information, visit us at www.accufield.com.
There's no such thing as downtime when you own a farm. This is your land. You tend it and try to get the most from it, no matter the weather or time of day. It's been that way for generations. And for generations, your local quality co-op store has been there for you, with a full range of agriculture supplies and services, from feed to fertilizer, seed to grain storage, and the right hardware for any application. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
Look, don't get me wrong, I love to rock my 4-inch heels, but do you know what I really love? Beef. When I watch a Western, I'm not watching the cowboys, I'm watching the cows. T-bone, filet, New York strip, and it's gotta be choice Angus beef. And there's nobody that does beef better than the beef people at Winn-Dixie, the original beef people. Hey, I'm beef people. Are you?
Winn-Dixie, home of the beef people.
Alabama soybean farmers help fuel the state's economy. Soybeans are used to make clean, renewable biodiesel and are a key ingredient in feed for poultry, catfish, and livestock. Soybeans are used in dozens of products we use every day. But best of all, soybean farmers generate $258 million and more than 4,000 jobs for Alabama's economy, all while helping conserve our natural resources. Explore the power of soy.
Rain is usually a good thing for farmers, but as the old saying goes, too much of a good thing can be harmful. This spring, excessive rains almost ruined farm crops before they were planted. As Kevin Worthington tells us, many producers had to change the crops they planned to grow when the fields became too wet to plow.
For Alabama farmers, it's not unusual to pray for rain. Hot southern summers can be disastrous for crops when rain is scarce. But too much rain can also create problems for growers.
This has been a very challenging spring because of the excessive rainfall we've had. And I say excessive rainfall, we really have not had that much of excessive amounts of rainfall, but just persistent.
Brian Glenn and his brother Don manage 2,400 acres of grain crops, including wheat, canola, soybeans, and corn. Continuous rain delayed spring planting this year, threatening expensive losses in their corn crop as they wait for the skies to clear.
Basically, we've gotten, I think, a total of about 6 days of dry weather out of about the last 30. Every time we get ready to go, think we're almost dry enough to go to the field, we get another rain. So at this point in time, we're about 4.5 weeks behind planting where we would normally be this time of year.
Some farmers in the state were forced to abandon planting corn, opting to switch to shorter season crops such as soybeans. For Glenn, though, it's a choice he hopes to avoid.
In my particular situation, we had already bought our corn seed. I've got the chemicals purchased, my nitrogen fertilizer is already purchased. So I have basically bought all of the inputs for the corn crop. So we need to put it in the ground. We've already incurred that expense whether we plant the crop or not.
While some farmers struggled with the weather to get their spring crops planted, others were counting the damage to their winter crops caused by the cool, wet conditions.
We pulled through some cold weather, but then wet. And then we got the cold weather. Then when it started blooming, we had wet and cold. And just in my opinion, I think the wet has knocked a lot of blooms off. And we got us out of timely fungicide. So we didn't get to spray it at the right time. So between a combination of several things, wet and cold, has done a pretty good job on our canola.
The race to save this season's crops has created some long, stress-filled days for farmers, underscoring the powerful factor weather plays in the field of agriculture.
farming, agriculture always adds stress to your life, but it's really been challenging because we have gotten so far behind. Usually you can afford to quit in the afternoon maybe and go to a ball game, to go to your kid's band concert and that type of thing. But when we get this far behind, you have to make those tough decisions. That the window's been so small that I have got to be in the field today, and that just adds to the stress of dealing with the weather and the challenges that we face.
Even with this season's frustrations with drought ravaging farms out west, farmers say they'd rather count their blessings than complain.
I'm very reluctant to get to have that conversation nearly every Sunday with somebody at church about you're sick of all this rainfall, and you hate to go to complaining about rain because we know we're only a week and a half away from a drought. So I hate to go to complaining about it, and really haven't yet, but I always look for the silver lining. Things could be a lot worse than they are. We're frustrated, but it could be a lot worse.
We're just looking forward to harvesting the crop, and it's enjoyable to be out here. As we always said, it's enjoyable to farm.
For Simply Southern, I'm Kevin Worthington.
Ironically, shortly after farmers got their crops planted this year, the weather changed to the other extreme and it really became too dry.
Yeah, the corn's got a lot of catching up to do, man.
It does this year. After the break, Sidney Phelps with Bonnie Plants will join us to talk about things you should consider for your backyard garden.
This seems unbelievable, but I promise it's true.
What's with the buzzing? Oh, that's a raven. That's a good omen. He knows we're coming back with dinner.
Well, that bird had a bunch of friends. And when Scott got back to the camper...
Well, that was a bust! What? Scott! Wait, what did you do? It's raining inside.
His new camper was a total loss, but his Alpha policy covered it.
It's that bird.
For service and savings, call Alpha.
Making sure you're covered?
Good call.
It's been said, without hard work, nothing grows but weeds. This is certainly true in agriculture. At the Alabama Farmers Federation, we know success is not born of fancy words, grand ideas, or good intentions. It's a result of wise planning, bold leadership, dedicated work, and blessings from above.
Support healthy food from local farmers by purchasing a Farming Feeds Alabama license plate. The tag funds education and promotion efforts, including Ag in the Classroom, agricultural scholarships, and youth programs. Get your Ag tag today.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed. Because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie plants, so you'll know how to grow.
Folks, instead of going to Bonnie to interview Sid Phelps, we brought Sid to the studio. Sid, if a person's going to start a vegetable garden, what are some of the basic things they need to know?
Well, Jim, the first thing, anytime you're dealing with vegetable gardens or gardens in general, you want to do a soil test. That's a very simple process. You get the soil test, you can send it off to your extension service, to your local university, in our case it'll be Auburn, and get the results back. That'll tell you exactly what you need to amend the soil to get the right nutrients. From there, you'll get the nutrients that you need, amend that into the soil, everything will be ready to go. And from that point, you can really start the process of getting your garden ready and kind of planning what you want to put in the garden.
If you were going to amend the soil, what is some basic cheap amendment you'd put into the soil?
Lime is probably one of the key components, especially in the southeast with the different soil varieties we have. You know, you've got the different sandies, loamy soils, all the way to the red clay that we're infamous with. Lime is a key nutrient that probably we have the most confusion to keep the pH at the right levels.
So then once you have your soil prepared, we have a lot of options as consumers as to what you can choose. You could go and buy seeds, or you can buy plants that are already growing. What are the differences between
one one thing when you're dealing with seeds, you're going to have to start that. And you're going to start that from a basis of either some type of small germination unit at home, whether it be a dome over a plastic tray to get the seeds started. But the biggest thing is with the transplants, everything, you've got basically a 6-week head start. So you can take those plants right into the ground and start them. And it's a lot easier for the consumer. If you're a master gardener, you have a lot of experience in the garden like Jim.
Sure.
Seeds are something that's very easy to work with, but if you're a novice, transplants are the way to go. There's no transplant shock, everything goes in a lot smoother, and you can keep track of what it is. One key component you've got to think about is with those type gardens, when you're amending the soil and getting everything right, you've got to make sure you've got the right plants for the right area, whether it be daylight, how much is around the area, if it's something that is going to be a compact grower or something that's going to grow all over the place. You really need to keep that into consideration when you plan your garden.
So make sure if you're planting watermelons, you have the space for those vines to go everywhere.
Exactly, yeah.
How many hours a day are we talking about for a vegetable garden?
Anywhere from 6 to 8 hours of sun. Morning sun is probably going to be the best. It's not as hot, so your plants get the time, they're not going to burn up in it. And if you can get that afternoon shade, it's great. Otherwise, you want to get late afternoon sun. This time of year is perfect as long as it's getting it from about 2 o'clock in the afternoon all the way till sunset. You don't want it to get it so much in the heat of the day all day.
Well, Sid, thank you so much for joining us. You always have great tips for vegetable gardens, and hopefully we're inspiring some folks to start their own vegetable gardens. Right. For more information on how to make that backyard garden of yours successful, visit bonnieplants.com. You can also find out more about the stories we featured here today by visiting their individual websites. To find out more about the miracle that occurred in Valinda Miracle's life, or to order some of her beautiful creations, go to miraclepottery.com. For more details on the Bryant Career Technical School in Mobile County and the courses they provide, visit bryant.mcv.schoolinsights.com.
And of course, to stay up to date on what we're doing here, be sure to like our Simply Southern Facebook page. We hope you'll tune in at the same time next week as we highlight the largest privately owned working dog training facility in the United States. And you guessed it, it's here in Alabama.
Plus, we'll show you how students in South Alabama are getting a lesson on the dangers of drinking or texting and driving.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Simply Southern. I'm Jim Allen.
And I'm Mary Johnson. We hope to see you again next week.
Simply Southern is a production of the Alabama Farmers Cooperative and the Alabama Farmers Federation.